You're listening to the Chad Hasty Show on demand. Good for you. Now download the KFYO app and listen live weekday afternoons 5 to 7 p.m. Central.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Good evening, Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening on this Tuesday, June 18th. This month is flying by. Welcome into the program. Glad to have you with us today. We've got quite a bit to get into on the program today, including some climate change discussion, I guess you could say, hysteria that's out there because of the heat domes. It's never been hot before. Did you know that? It's never been hot before. Also, it's never rained before. If I saw a story at a DFW area earlier today that climate change could make thunderstorms worse. Now, of course, last year when there was a drought, we heard that climate change was going to make the drought worse. Well, now it's going to make thunderstorms worse. It's no matter what happens, it's all because of climate change. Don't forget, it's all because of climate change. We'll talk about that. Also, we've got a story out of Texas Tech that we'll wrap up and follow up on today. We've got the latest on the fires in New Mexico. Just if you're a fan of Ruidoso, New Mexico, in that area, your heart's probably like mine, just absolutely breaking for the folks in that area, and for the people who own homes. And I've come across many folks who have vacation homes, and they've got Airbnbs, and they've got just all kinds of obviously business. Ruidoso does a lot of business with Texas, obviously, and there's a lot of connections throughout West Texas and the Panhandle, connected to that area, whether it's Ruidoso, and just a few minutes ago I saw on Facebook where they are they're now I guess they had said that the Ruidoso Downs area, that it's Ruidoso Downs being moved to a go status, the salt fire making a run towards the city of Ruidoso Downs. And if they say if you are in Ruidoso Downs, please evacuate immediately. Do not try to gather your belongings or save your property. The latest from Ruidoso, New Mexico. And that's a place that my wife and I have been several times. Many of you have probably been several times, and we just pray for the people and for that area. Obviously, just you got two wildfires that are just moving in on that city, on the village of Ruidoso, New Mexico. So we pray for them. We pray for some maybe some cooler temperatures, some rain, and definitely the wind to die down in that area, for firefighters to be able to get a hold of that situation. It's just absolutely horrible to see in these pictures that we see. It's just absolutely terrible to see these photos. So I know some of you listening probably have some very, very strong connections to that area, maybe even have some vacation homes in that area. And so We hope that your property is A-OK. 1-800-687-0790. That's 1-800-687-0790. You can text in at 806-680-2790. When you text in, be sure to give us a name. We want to know who you are and also where you're listening from. When you call in, you can, of course, you can sound off on any of the issues that we're talking about. We will get into the Biden amnesty push, and that's what it is. We'll talk about that. We've also got a little bit more on the Trump 2024 campaign and the Biden 2024 campaign. We're getting much closer to this debate that's going to be held. What is it, next week? Is the first presidential debate. It's crazy. Those of you in Lubbock, we will have a debate watch party over at Premier Cinemas. If you've been listening to KFYO, you've probably been hearing some of the promos about that. But yeah, we're gearing up for that first debate. I'm ready for it. I'm sure many of you are as well. And it's again, for Joe Biden, is there a plot to take down Joe among the Democrats? A story that we didn't have time to get to yesterday that we'll get to a little bit later on. So we're going to be all over the place today. We've got quite a bit to get into. Again, your phone calls, your text messages. Nick, the first voice you hear from when you dial in today, he's in a great mood. He was very happy. He texted me last night saying, I have it. I have air conditioning. He was very excited. He even made some dessert last night. Nick, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well.
You look happy.
Am I glowing? Do I have that youthful glow?
You have that. I don't mind going home later.
No.
Look,
Yeah.
which is, I think beforehand you kind of feared going home.
I did.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty rational fear, I would say. 85, what did I say? 84, 85 degrees
Yes.
coming in. But that streak has ended. Yesterday at, I think around noon, we had a HVAC maintenance guy come by. And you know the great thing about doorbells these days? You've got a little camera. And even better, you've got a microphone,
Yeah, so
and
you
a little
can sneak
speaker.
up on
You can scare people
Yes.
who stop by the house. So he was, I could hear him jiggling, trying to figure out the lock as he was leaving. And so it was, I swooped in.
Yes.
The knight in shining armor that I am. I pressed the little microphone on my app. I could see him, and it spooked him a bit. He was taken aback, but it all worked out. He was able to fix it. I got home. It was a beautiful 74. By the end of the day,
Very nice.
68 degrees.
Very nice.
Very, very nice. So
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And as you said, yes, I celebrated with what was it? A peach crumble.
A peach crumble.
A peach crumble with fresh peaches. Very
Which
good.
you just made for yourself. Like, you didn't bring it up here to
That's
the radio
correct.
station.
All
Your fiance, she
she gets
wasn't
none of it.
there.
It's all me.
You just made it for you.
I did.
Yeah.
I had a little kazoo. I had streamers just for me. A little party. Relaxation has returned once again to the house.
A peach crumble.
A peach crumble.
Yeah.
I was going to do a peach pie.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to make a dough. I went to multiple places last night. All right. I was trying to find, I don't even know what it's called. Like a pie dough.
Crust.
Crust, but it's like the dough as well that you lay on top.
Sure.
So, because multiple places had crusts.
Yeah.
But they had like the graham cracker or like the flaky crust.
Sure.
Which are good, but those are open face pies. I wasn't looking for open face pies.
No, not Nick.
No. I'm looking for you drape like a blanket.
Sure.
You drape the dough.
Pie in a blanket.
Pie in the blanket, yes.
Yes.
You put it in the oven. But I couldn't find that. So I'm like, all right, I got to go plan B. Just mix everything together.
Just go with a crumble.
Make a crumble.
Is that what a crumble is? It's just everything mixed in.
In a professional,
Okay.
in professional terms, yes.
Yes, okay.
That's exactly
All
what
right.
it is.
That's the day after you made blueberry pancakes.
I did.
You're
And
just baking all types
I
of
did.
stuff.
I had homemade tacos as well.
Yeah.
That night, a couple
You're
nights
making
ago.
people hungry out there,
I
Nick.
am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. Well, congratulations on
Thank you.
Having air conditioning back.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're
I worked real hard on that.
You're
Thank
very
you.
happy about that. That's good. 806-680-2790. Of course, the one of the big stories today Joe Biden announcing the latest attempt to give, I guess you could call it backdoor amnesty to 500,000 or more people living illegally in the U.S. The Daily Signal wrote it up this way: when it stands between him and policy objectives, Biden treats the law of the land as a minor obstacle to work around. Whether it's passing along billions of dollars in loan balances from college students to you and me, giving chosen favorites massive breaks on mortgages, or handing millions in grant money from the so-called Inflation Reduction Act to activists who support illegal immigration, Biden acts as if limits set by Congress are just for us little people. Well, until anybody stops them, that's what he's going to continue to do. Congress intended immigration parole to be used by the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security to allow a few hundred migrants a year into the country in exceptional circumstances, but the president now is using it to create a string of McVisa programs benefiting Afghans, Ukrainians, Cubans, Haitians, Venezuelans, and more. And folks, this is exactly what I said last night, is that this is a way of just, you're going to start off with this, a quote unquote small batch of amnesty, a little bit of amnesty, just a little bit. And the White House will say, well, look, this is for those who they're married. And don't you want to give their partners a way to get into the country easily? I mean, these people are married to U.S. citizens. They're going to go through background checks. Well, then after that, it expands to everybody else, which is exactly what they want to do. It's just more and more amnesty from the Democrats. And again, they're not shoring up the border. They're not doing anything to cut off illegal immigration. So what happens the next go around? Well, we're going to have more amnesty. This is exactly what the Democrats do all the time. It's amnesty program after amnesty program after amnesty program, and it continuing to allow people just to flood into the country. The latest idea jammed through the parole loophole by Biden is called parole in place. It's based on the premise, starting with pretending that somebody living in the U.S. illegally for more than a decade is applying for entry today. That would be like describing someone who showed up to your porch tomorrow but didn't ring the doorbell until 10 years later as a visitor. Critics describe parole in place as an amnesty because under U.S. immigration law, aliens who have entered illegally can't get green cards through their spouses because they've never been admitted. Says it just bureaucratic hurdles, as the Washington Post would have you believe. It's a deliberate attempt by Congress to make it harder for migrants to enter the U.S. illegally and stay with impunity. Again, this is one of those barriers that is in place to prevent people from taking advantage of the United States and to prevent people from crossing into the country illegally, and Biden is just trying to blow it up. That'll be challenged in the courts, but there will be times where he will be allowed to grant this amnesty. It'll be in the balance, and unfortunately for Joe Biden, and unfortunately, really for the United States, he's going to probably find some judges that are going to allow him to do this. This is why it's so important when it comes to November for Republicans to take back Congress and take back the White House. Very, very important for that to happen. 806-680-2790. Your running topic today, by the way. We've already thrown this out on at least one of the Facebook pages out there. Your favorite TV show from when you were a kid. Your favorite TV show or TV shows from when you were a kid. And kid can be, just when you were not an adult, when you were younger. Your favorite TV shows from when you were a kid. You can text those in at 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and much more.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, the latest on the Biden border disaster. What are the numbers telling us? Some big news stories refocusing attention on this. We'll break it down for you. Plus, the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, on what those polls are telling us about the Trump-Biden race. And also, what about that cover of New York Magazine on Republican women? We'll discuss on Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, tomorrow morning at 11.
To the Chad Hasty Show. Happy Tuesday. Texas Ethics Commission will now require influencers to disclose when they're being paid for advertisement. The action comes after the Texas Tribune reported influencers are being paid to defend impeached Attorney General Ken Paxton. Texas top campaign finance watchdog voted Tuesday to require social media figures to disclose when they're paid for political advertisement, nearly a year after the Texas Tribune and others reported that influencers were being quietly paid to defend the impeached Attorney General. In a 7-0 vote, the Texas Ethics Commission gave final approval to the changes, which were first proposed back in March. Last summer, the Tribune reported on a new company called Influenceable that was paying Gen Z influencers to create or share social media posts that attacked the impeachment process and the Texas Republicans leading it, including House Speaker Dade Phelan. Commissioners did not mention the company directly on Tuesday, but said at their previous meeting that the changes were in response to, quote, at least one business that was paying social media figures for undisclosed political messaging. Let's see. The new change amends the commissioner's rules to clarify that disclosures are required for those who are paid more than $100 to post or repost political advertisements. Now, some of the reporting that was done said that some people were being paid $50, so I guess it wouldn't impact them. Either way, I don't think it'll really matter that much. I don't think it would have mattered in the Ken Paxton impeachment case either. Others argued it did not go far enough because it held social media users accountable, but not those who pay them, and failed to disclose as much. Quote, I just don't want to pass the buck on to people who are literally only posting these because they'll get 75, 80, or 90 bucks out of it, said Andrew Cates, an Austin-based attorney focused on political campaigns. The commission's executive director agreed with Cates that the change is narrowly tailored, but added it does prevent the commission from pursuing new rules in the future that deal with those who are paying social media users to post their political advertisements. Campaign law experts previously said the companies like Influenceable reflect a decades-long failure to modernize disclosure rules, many of which have not been updated since the widespread proliferation of social media or the internet. Again, I don't think it'll really have any type of big influence, but okay. I don't have any problem with it. If you got to disclose a lot of political advertisement when it's political advertisement, so I'm fine with that too. Texas National Guard shooting PepperBalls to deter migrants at the border. Some people upset with this. Texas the National Guard members on the Texas-Mexico border have added PepperBall guns to their arsenal, firing at illegal immigrants who are gathering on the U.S. side of the Rio Grande to try and break through the tangle of wire strung along the border. Illegal immigrants interviewed in Mexico, so they've been shot by the rounds, which leave welts and bruises. It's the latest escalation by Texas at the southern border, though Governor Abbott's multi-billion-dollar initiative, Operation Lone Star, has been working. The weapons resemble paintball guns. They're powered by a carbon dioxide cartridge that can hold about 180 rounds, according to a video recently posted on the Operation Lone Star YouTube page, later shared by the governor's office. The goal is to get all National Guard members certified in using the weapon. I don't have a problem with it. They're not lethal. And if you don't want to get shot by a PepperBall, don't cross the border illegally. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? If you don't want to get shot by a PepperBall gun, don't cross the border illegally. I mean, this isn't hard. Of course, you've got some of the bleeding hearts out there very upset by it. Very upset with this, even though it's non-lethal means. Somebody could get a bruise. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. When you call 911, first responders show up now. Let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you know veterans enrolled in VA healthcare can use over 4,000 urgent care locations across the country to treat non-life-threatening conditions? It's easy and free. Just show your Veteran Health ID card. Get the best care for veterans. Sign up at va.gov or visit your nearest VA medical center.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. Don't you forget about Chad at Chad Hasty Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on your radio. Now back to the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate you being out there. You can send in your thoughts on the text line, your running topic today, your favorite TV show from when you were a kid. TV show or TV shows. You can text in at 806-680-2790. We'll get to some of those responses when we'll get to those coming up in the next segment. How about this? Obviously you got the PepperBall story. Democrats are very upset about the PepperBall story. The illegal immigrant activist out there. Very upset about it. The balls are to be shot in the general direction of illegals, not directly at them, to break up groups and deter them, according to the video. But illegal immigrants interviewed by the Tribune said some people have been hit. Well, stop crossing illegally. People who help migrants at the border said they're worried that the continued escalation of tactics by state forces. Again, stop crossing the border illegally. Go cross somewhere else. You're lucky we don't have troops on the border with live ammo, trying to protect the border from the invasion that's going on. Again, when you see the videos that do come from different border spots, I saw a video yesterday out of California where it was a group of maybe 30 to 40 Chinese nationals that were caught crossing. Well, they weren't caught; they were caught by camera, but they weren't caught by the border security. But they were filmed, I guess you could say, crossing the border illegally. There's still this idea from people out there that it's people from Mexico who are crossing illegally. It's really not. It's people from all over the world that are crossing illegally. The vast majority of them not from Mexico. They're from other countries. They're going through Mexico, but they're not Mexican. They're from other parts of the country. A lot of Middle Easterners who are coming across illegally. And people are mad about PepperBalls. You're mad. You're upset. The country is being completely overwhelmed. The state of Texas has put up razor wire. They are trying to do everything they can to block and stop people from crossing illegally. And the Democrats are all up in arms because PepperBalls are being used. And that somebody might get hit. Well, here's a good way of them not getting hit by a PepperBall. Don't cross the border illegally. That's pretty simple. The story from the Tribune continues. The migrants, illegal immigrants, some of whom have been camping out several days waiting to cross through the wire, said they fled from the riverbank attempting not to breathe in the irritant. A woman who declined to be identified out of fear that soldiers would retaliate against her shared a video of the aftermath that showed her coughing while her daughter held on to her and a boy sitting nearby had streaks on his face. The woman said one of the projectiles hit her daughter in the head. Again, no one died. No one was hurt. The worst that happened is that someone was coughing. But you see how this is portrayed through the Texas Tribune. And here's why it matters what the Texas Tribune reports, okay, folks? Many news outlets across the state get their news from the Texas Tribune. They get their news and they reprint it, and there's no discussion. There's no debate. It's just, here's the news. These horrible people in Texas are firing PepperBalls, and someone had to breathe in pepper. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it's horrible. Nicholas Gonzalez, a 46-year-old Colombian migrant in the group, pointed to a small bruise near his elbow and hand. Oh, my God. A small bruise near the elbow and hand. Which he said were caused by the PepperBalls. Quote, they have no respect for us. They don't care whether there's a pregnant woman or children here. They treat us worse than animals. They are hunting us down. You're stupid. No one's hunting you down. You're getting hit by a PepperBall. If you're so concerned about pregnant women and the welfare of children, stop making them go through the trek of going from Colombia to the United States on foot. I'm sorry, I don't have any respect for someone who will stand up and go, oh, the Americans are being mean to us by turning us away. They have no respect for the women and children here, the children that we have put on the death train, and the women that were maybe raped on their way here. But, oh, now they're shooting PepperBalls at us, and this just cannot stand. Again, you have no respect for U.S. laws. I have no respect for you. Go back to Colombia. You want to come here? Do it the right way. But see, we have all these organizations out there. We have all these media groups that want you to feel bad. And so they reprint this and they make it seem as though Texas is being mean. It's a PepperBall. Again, you may not want to get hit with one. It may not be the most fun thing in the world. But you're not getting shot. There's not a soldier up there with a 45 aiming at you and shooting at you. It's a PepperBall gun. And you're complaining about it, acting as though, this is a great humanitarian crisis. These are the people who are making women, some of whom are trafficking women, some of whom are raping these women, who are bringing them up through Mexico and through the third world to get to the United States. They're putting their children through razor wire to get into the United States, and they're mad at us. No, I don't have any respect for that. I have no respect at all for that. Say, texture, those are the most benign that you can use. They have solid plastic, tear gas, vomit balls. Ed, and we'll get to Ed here in just a second. Pepper balls, tear gas, water cannons, razor wire, whatever works. We're not doing whatever works. If you want to do whatever works, you would actually put troops along the border, you would militarize the border, and you would shut it down. That's what we should be doing. And Texas is doing everything that they can do to actually do something humanitarian, which is, we're going to pop you back with a few pepper balls. We're not shooting live ammo at you. We're shooting pepper balls. And yes, some of you may get hit with one. And again, if you don't want to get hit by a pepper ball, the best way not to do so is to back up. It's amazing how that happens. 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages. Yes, we will get to your favorite TV shows from back when you were a kid. We'll get to those when we come back here on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, the latest on the Biden border disaster. What are the numbers telling us? Some big news stories refocusing attention on this. We'll break it down for you. Plus, the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, on what those polls are telling us about the Trump-Biden race. And also, what about that cover of New York Magazine on Republican women? We'll discuss on Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, tomorrow morning at 11.
Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. All right, we've been your running topic today. Your favorite TV shows as a kid. Your favorite TV shows as a kid. You can text in at 806-680-2790. Ed and Wiley weighing in on the text line. Favorite TV shows. Let's see, Circus Boy with Mickey, Captain Gallant and the Foreign Legion, Howdy Doody, Mickey Mouse Club, Roy Rogers Show, Red Ryder, Captain Midnight, that's from Ed in Wiley. You can send in your thoughts on the text line. Pat Lawton weighing in with Gilligan's Island. We've had a few Gilligan's Islands that was sent in. You can get in on those on the text line 806-680-2790. Some of your favorite TV shows. Inspector Gadget had that one sent to us. MASH in the teenage years. Get Smart. Star Trek, another texture, and a few Star Treks that they weighed in with. Beverly Hills 90210. That's a classic right there. Nick, you're way too young for Beverly Hills 90210. How do you know about Beverly Hills 90210? Because you looked at me with I know that one.
Yeah.
You're way too young for that.
Regardless, I have heard of it. As shocking as it may seem, we all know I haven't seen it.
Right.
But I've heard of it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's same texter said Alf. Chips, Brady Bunch, Batman, Three Stooges, and Looney Tunes. Another vote for MASH. Superman, Dragnet. And another Gilligan's Island. Let's see, on the Facebook page, we had another Alf on the Facebook page, and MacGyver. Your favorite TV shows from back in the day, back when you were a kid, when you were younger. You can get those in. Whenever I saw Nick kind of look at me with the Beverly Hills 90210, I'm thinking, what? How do you know that one? That was a little surprising. Leave it to Beaver. Texture weighing in. Let's see. $6 Million Man from David and Slayton. Also weighed in with Charlie's Angels. Let's see. You can weigh in on the text line 806-680-2790. You can get in on the running topic, and also any of the other big topics that we've been getting into. Saved by the Bell. I was wondering when that would get thrown in there. I was a Saved by the Bell kid. Watch Saved by the Bell. Kelly Kapowski. Absolutely. She's Kelly Kapowski. What, Nick? Do you know what Saved by the Bell is? Have you heard of the Saved by the Bell?
Yeah, I was just a little disturbed by the noise you made.
No, I'm just thinking of Kelly Kapowski.
Okay,
that's all.
Right, all right.
I mean, all right. Back in the day, she's still pretty attractive.
Okay, hey, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. The Pretender, Don in Lubbock, who weighed in with that one. Hogan's Heroes, Wild Wild West, Beverly Hillbillies. It was always fun as a kid to watch the old black and white shows. I don't know why, but it was always fun to watch those shows. And Beverly Hillbillies, that was one that I would watch. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what channel they would come on, but it would be like back to back to back to back. Like the black and white specials. And usually you would watch them, as a kid, I would watch them when I was homesick. If I was homesick, not only did you watch The Price is Right, but you would also watch some of the older TV shows. Dukes of Hazzard. It's a good one. 806-680-2790. How about this? Majority of Hispanics favor deporting all illegal immigrants. This is the Daily Signal. An outright majority of Hispanic Americans favor a mass deportation plan for illegal immigrants. New surveys found 53% of Hispanic adults approve of a new national program to deport all undocumented immigrants currently living in the United States illegally. That according to a CBS YouGov poll conducted June 5th through the 7th. Only 47% of Hispanic respondents said they oppose such a measure, which is outside the poll's margin of error. Political and demographic breakdown of the survey further indicated widespread support for a hypothetical mass deportation plan. In total, 62% of respondents favored deporting all illegal immigrants from the U.S. That included a majority of men, women, and independents, conservatives, moderates, Republicans, individuals with a 4-year college degree and those without a college degree, and people over 30 years old. Only black Americans, Democrats, liberals, and adults under the age of 30 were mostly opposed to such a plan. It's not surprising. Paul from Post, Have Gun, Will Travel. Three's Company. I Dream of Jeannie. More and Mindy. Gunsmoke. More of your texts, more of your TV shows from when you were a kid when we return on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media. Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Final hour of the program. Hope you're enjoying your evening. By the way, Texas Tech, they've announced that they're going to be doing, I guess, a little bit more looking into some of these guest lecturer who come in at the request of student groups. In early June, a Cornell lecturer who was dressed in drag hosted a seminar on what they called queering agriculture for Texas Tech students, I guess, to make the ag industry LGBT friendly. He told students to, quote, sneak queer examples in books into early education and encourage the use of opposite sex restrooms. The event was brought to the attention of Texas Tech leadership after it took place. Tech officials explained that students inviting an external guest speaker is protected by the First Amendment, does not violate state law. However, the university's administration has pledged action to ensure a program like that does not happen again, and to follow the letter and spirit of the state law banning DEI. The seminar was organized and conducted by a Texas Tech University student committee as part of a grant component requiring the promotion of a diversity and culture and a culture of inclusion. Explained to Matt Dewey, Texas Tech Vice President for Marketing and Communications, the university believes the manner in which the event was conducted lacked transparency and is inconsistent with our commitment to complying with not only the letter, but also the spirit of SB 17. The university will better utilize advisors who can provide guidance regarding holding events on campus in the future. I'm telling you right now, people knew about this. People knew about it and then they got caught. The seminar was held by the Center for Advancing Sustainable and Distributed Fertilizer Production. Project takes various sources of ways to create nitrogen-based fertilizers. It's housed at Texas Tech and funded by the National Science Foundation. It has 4 other partners: Case Western Reserve University, Georgia Institute of Technology, Massachusetts Institute Technology, and Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University. The Queering Agriculture took place on June 7th at 11 a.m. via Zoom. Multiple tech employees were alarmed by it. The presenter, was in his drag queen persona. It made news before. Back in June of 2022, Blaze Media reported that he taught children as young as 11 to become drag queens. This took place at a taxpayer-funded library in Upper New York. The trend continued in this presentation at Texas Tech, where he shared how to spread LGBT ideology to minors. He recommended various books for classroom libraries and schools, and suggested using same-sex couples as examples in word problems. Quote, there's all kinds of ways to sneak that education in without making it so over the top and in your face, he said. A staff member with Texas Tech, Zaida Garcia, a staff member with both Tech and Casper, said it's a really good idea. Really good to know. Dr. Jerry Body, Texas Tech employee, thanked the presenter. Said, I learned so much from this presentation. I bet you did. So, again, this type of stuff, they're going to try to sneak this in everywhere they can. And they're going to try to change the name. Oh, this isn't DEI. This isn't DEI. This is just us. We're trying to diversify agriculture. What do they call it? The grant component requiring promotion of diversity and a culture of inclusion. A culture of inclusion is what we have now. So again, this is something that is, being promoted and being put out there, and you're going to have universities that are going to try and get through, because I guarantee you there are people that knew about this, that knew that this would run afoul of the DEI, spirit of the law, that there would be people who would be upset with this. I mean, why would you need a drag queen presenter talking to you about agriculture? There's no need for it. And why would again, when it comes to queering agriculture, why are you talking about sneaking stuff into education? But these are the battles that we're facing. These are the battles that we're facing not only nationally, but statewide as well. This stuff is going on over at Tech. It's going on at Texas A&M. It's happening, obviously, at the University of Texas. This stuff happens all over. And we've got to put spotlights on it. We've got to show people that it's happening. So that way those who, because the universities, yeah, they care a little bit about the press. They care a little bit about getting caught. What they really fear, what they really get afraid of is when you have donors start threatening to pull money. That's when these universities really start listening. When donors say, you know what, I'm not going to give you any more money. We're done. That's when these universities really start to listen and pay attention to what's going on. can send in your thoughts on the text line, 806-680-2790. Again, that's 806-680-2790. Story that I had planned on getting into in the last hour. The south of CNN. America needs a paradigm shift in how we respond to heat. Summer starts Thursday, and record-breaking temperatures have already begun cascading across the United States. Triple-digit temperatures hit the western states, with the Northeast, Midwest, Great Lakes regions expected to see extreme heat waves this week. Current U.S. strategies for keeping families cool, including access to cooling centers, temporary shelters during heat waves, may have worked when temperatures were lower and the duration of the heat waves were shorter. But in today's climate, these outdated cooling methods are inadequate. Weather-related deaths from extreme heat are more common from those from hurricanes, floods, extreme cold, and other natural disasters. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, about 1,220 people die from extreme heat every year. 1,200 people. Now, I'm not trying to be cold-hearted here. 1,200 people died. I mean, that's like a month in Chicago of the amount of people who die from gang shootings. Do we really need a radical plan for 1,200 people in a year that die from extreme heat? And again, what are we saying when about 1,200 people die from extreme heat every year? I mean, is this just people who don't have any access to air conditioning? These people who also have heat strokes, people who are outside working, people who have, real jobs, not fake jobs, not easy, cushy jobs like sitting inside a radio studio where it's a nice 68 degrees. No. I'm talking like construction. That's a real job. During the summertime when it's about, 100 degrees and you're doing asphalt, you're doing concrete, you're building homes. Yeah, that's real work. That's real stuff right there. That's when it gets hot. And there are people who die from heat stroke. But does it really do we need a radical change because 1,200 people die a year from extreme heat? Well, this author thinks so over at CNN. We need a full paradigm shift in policy to deploy the right solutions to people who need them most. The cost of home cooling has been rising for the last 10 years, in part because families need to purchase more electricity to cool their homes as temperatures continue to rise. The National Energy Assistant Directors for the Centers for Energy Poverty and Climate Project say the financial burden to families to keep cool this summer will increase by 7.9% across the U.S. to an average of $719 from June through September. That's up from $661 from the same period last year. Well, how many people budgeted for that? Low-income families will be at the greatest risk of falling behind on their utility bills this summer and therefore facing utility shutoffs, suffering dangerous health effects and extreme heat exposure. Just wait. I'm guessing at some point. They're going to come up and say that we need maybe some free air conditioning. I don't know. Like we will need air conditioning free giveaways. We'll need some money given away for air conditioning. I say in the long term we need to invest in solutions. We know that works. Like home electrification and appliance rebate programs. Oh, yeah, that's working. They'll probably tell you to get rid of your gas grill, too. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, your favorite TV shows from when you were a kid. What are they? We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, the latest on the Biden border disaster. What are the numbers telling us? Some big news stories refocusing attention on this. We'll break it down for you. Plus, the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, on what those polls are telling us about the Trump-Biden race. And also, what about that cover of New York Magazine on Republican women? We'll discuss on Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Tomorrow morning at 11.
Well, it's all right, riding around in the breeze. Well, it's all right, if you live the life you please. Well, it's all right, doing the best you can. Well, it's
all right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. You can send in your thoughts on the text line, 806-680-2790. It's 806-680-2790. If you want to weigh in with some of your favorite TV shows from when you were a kid, in Abilene, Mr. Ed, laugh in the Midnight Special. Whoops, does that reveal too much about me? Enjoy your show. Thank you from Abilene. Dave in Lubbock. Liked watching Perry Mason with my dad, and when my mom wasn't around, she thought it was too violent. And from Dave in Lubbock, another texter says the Lone Ranger, the Highway to Heaven, the Fall Guy, the A-Team. Another text with their favorite TV shows from back when they were a kid, Lost in Space. See, another Dukes of Hazzard getting a vote there. Get Smart. Another Hogan's Heroes getting a nice little shout out. And Gunsmoke. Another Have Gun Will Travel on the text line as well. Say another text. Thank goodness people don't freeze to death each year. Another texture says senior citizens need an increase in Social Security so they can afford not only AC in the summer, but as well as heat in the winter. From Ed and Wiley. And another text asking about the Queering Ag event. Again, we brought that up earlier. And Texas Tech, in their, I guess, official, oops, we made a mistake here, says that it was a student organization that brought in an outside speaker, but also said they'll be watching this closer, so there will be no violation of the DEI programs in the future. So we'll see. Robin Meta, Knight Rider. You can send in yours on the text line 806-680-2790. Again, that's 806-680-2790. You can text in your favorite TV shows from when you were a kid. Speaking of DEI, the Washington Post, they want you to, they're still fighting this DEI deal. Despite rising tensions over diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, 6 in 10 Americans say they are a good thing for companies to adopt. Dozens of companies, including giants like Meta and Pfizer, are fighting lawsuits over their corporate diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI programs, many of them brought by conservative activists, Republican-led legislators across the country, considering scores of anti-DEI bills, such efforts are poised to become a wedge issue in this year's presidential election. Despite the conservative attacks, most Americans approve of companies taking steps to address the historic inequalities in their ranks. Ugh, please. According to a poll from the Washington Post, roughly 6 in 10 Americans say that diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are a good thing. And support was even higher for specific programs such as internships for underrepresented groups and anti-bias trainings. Let me tell you something about the 6 in 10 people who go with this. I'm going to say that out of the 6 in 10 people, if they actually knew what these DEI programs were, that number would drop big time. That number would drop to maybe about 3 in 10. Now, you're going to have about 25 to 30% of the country who they buy into the DEI stuff, hook, line, and sinker. They're going to buy into it completely. They're going to buy into the, oh, well, we're still a racist country. Remember, look at the Democrat Party. They believe that. The Democrat Party in America believes that we're a racist nation, and that that companies are racist today, and that all these inequalities and inequities still exist in America today. They believe this. They believe that if you're not white, then you're automatically suffering in the United States, and it's because of racism why you haven't achieved everything that you want to achieve. Again, DEI is something that may sound good if you just hear about it. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Well, for a lot of people, they don't know what the hell any of that means when it comes to DEI programs. They just hear, well, it sounds like these companies want to be fair. It sounds like these companies want to have diverse thoughts. Well, that sounds good to me. And they say, okay, I'm fine with that. When you actually learn about it, when you actually do research about it, that's when support plummets. We'll be right back.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
Today's markets from the Texas Department of Ag.
Texas feeder cattle auctions reported prices steady to $8 higher. Cattle futures were down, with June live cattle futures down 38 cents to close at $186.67 per hundredweight, and August feeder cattle futures were down $1.37 to close at $259.95 per hundredweight. July cotton futures were up a point, closing at 71.03 cents per pound. July wheat futures were down 4 cents, closing at $6.01 per bushel, and July corn was up 6 cents to close at $4.50 per bushel. July soybean futures were up 16 cents, closing at $11.74 per bushel. And July soybean meal futures were up $4.30 to close at $364.60 per ton. June class 3 milk futures were up 4 cents, closing at $19.88 per hundredweight. July crude oil futures were up $1.11 to close at $81.44 per barrel. The Dow Jones was up 56 points to close at 38,834. And that's the market roundup from the Texas Department of Agriculture. I'm Deputy Commissioner Terry Keel. Remember, friends, Texas agriculture matters. Sold.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. You're listening to The Chad Hasty Show.
to the Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate you tuning in today. You can send in your thoughts on the text line 806-680-2790. It's 806-680-2790. You can weigh in on any of the topics that we've been getting into today. Chad, when is the watch party for the debate? Let us know. Thanks in advance. The watch party for the debate's going to be on debate night. That's what it's going to be over at Premier Cinemas, and we invite you to come on out. Again, doors open at, I believe, 7 p.m. The debate starts at 8 p.m. This is for those of you in Lubbock, and it'll be held at Premier Cinemas. Come on out, join us. We're going to have a great time on June 27th. That's coming up. That's coming. I honestly can't believe that the first debate is coming up so soon. Remember, they added this debate, and both campaigns have signed off on it. The first debate next Thursday, June 27th. So come on out to Premier Cinemas on that date, and be sure to get some popcorns and some popcorn and drink. And I'm hearing there's going to be maybe some pretty cool giveaways. I haven't heard anything official yet, but I have heard there will be some pretty cool giveaways while we're out there. So first come, first serve. Get out there and join us. And if we completely pack the theater, we may get in the even larger theater the next go around. And I'm pretty sure we're going to pack the theater. I have a sneaky suspicion that we will pack the theater that night over at Premier Cinemas. We will be in a much larger theater than we were the last go around. If you went to a couple of the primary debates when Trump was not debating, I think we're going to be I know we're going to be in a much larger theater, and I'm betting that it's going to be packed. I just have a suspicion it's going to be pretty packed. Quantum Leap getting a vote for a TV show that people watched as a kid. Bionic Woman, the $6 million man, getting another vote. Lone Ranger getting another vote. Dukes of Hazzard. Let's see. Lawrence weighed in. Chad, you asked for it. Popeye, the Three Stooges, the Rifleman, Branded Rawhide, and more. Very good. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Story out of, where did I get this? Oh, here we go. Breitbart. Anti-Trump groups are preparing to resist the White House return of Trump, fearing immigration and other crackdowns. A loose coalition of anti-Trump groups already planning ahead of November to try and resist actions they fear could be taken by a second potential Trump administration by preparing lawsuits and planning to intervene in immigration raids. That, according to the New York Times. Groups like the far-left Center for American Progress and Never Trump groups, such as Principles First, teaming up to prepare lawsuits to stop the feared potential crackdowns on illegal immigration and abortion access. Efforts to reduce the size of the federal bureaucracy or use troops to restore order. Quote, what Trump and his acolytes are running on is an authoritarian playbook, said Patrick Gaspard, chief executive of CAP, political arm of the far-left think tank. That's all the Times. Now we have we have to democracy-proof our actual institutions and the values we share. Give me a break. Give me a break. on that one. The values that we share, I guess maybe some of the never-Trumpers share some of the values with the far left, but that's about it. And if anyone is threatening, quote-unquote, democracy, it's Joe Biden. And it has been the Biden administration that's been threatening the, quote-unquote, democracy, not Donald Trump. But yes, the far left groups, they're getting ready to go to battle, which really should not surprise anybody. It really should not surprise anybody that the far left, they're going to do everything they can do. If Trump is elected, they're going to do everything they can do to get in the way, to blow things up. I still believe, and I hope I'm wrong on this, I really do. But I think you're going to see some political violence. I think you're going to see a major protest in cities. I think you're going to see some cities that are set ablaze. I think you're going to see law and order just absolutely get out of hand in some of these larger cities across the U.S. if Trump wins. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely wrong on that. But I fear the left will just become even more unhinged when Trump wins this thing, if he does. And that's why I've told you, you've got to be prepared. You've got to be ready. You've got to be prepared if you live really anywhere, but if you live in a larger city especially, you had better be prepared for just some very unruly nights in some of these Democrat strongholds that are out there. Again, we haven't seen any of these Black Lives Matter protests. We haven't seen any of these protests where cities are burned to the ground. We haven't seen any of that since Trump left the White House. I bet they're going to return. I bet they're going to return, and we'll be labeled a racist nation. The Democrats will say that we're a racist nation once again, that we've lost it, that the democracy has ended, that our democracy has fallen because of Donald Trump. They'll say that he's illegitimate. I guarantee you, there will be Democrats who say Donald Trump, if he wins this thing, is an illegitimate president. I guarantee you're going to hear that from the left. And that's going to fuel backlash. And I hope I'm wrong, but I could see political violence that springs up because of this. And again, it's not going to be the right. It's not going to be the MAGA people who are starting the battles and starting the fight. It's going to be the left. It's going to be the liberal left, the far left, that decides to get out there and attack people. So you better be ready for it. You better be prepared. You better stock up on ammo. You better have your firearms. You better just be ready for this, because it could happen. 806-680-2790. Texter, MacGyver, greatest American hero. Let's see. Same texture, same thanks about the watch party date. You got it. We'll see you there. Come out and say hello. 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, the latest on the Biden border disaster. What are the numbers telling us? Some big news stories refocusing attention on this. We'll break it down for you. Plus, the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, on what those polls are telling us about the Trump-Biden race. And also, what about that cover of New York Magazine on Republican women? We'll discuss on Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Tomorrow morning at 11.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Freeze in full effect.
All right, welcome back to the Chad AC Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Let's see here. Where do we go now? Oh, how about this real quick? The Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills reportedly are going to sponsor a new football chapter, a new National Gay Flag Football League. Now, I don't know why you just can't have a flag football league where, you know, everyone plays, but apparently there's going to be a gay flag football league, and they will have the Buffalo Bills will be supporting a chapter of the Gay Flag Football League, according to the Buffalo Bills. So just that, just coming across. Okay, from Fox News. The folks over at Wallet Hub went through to find the 10 most patriotic U.S. states ahead of July 4th, which we are not far away from Independence Day weekend. All 50 states were analyzed to see which were tops in patriotism. Wallet Hub analyzed all 50 states to see who is the most patriotic based on a number of factors. States were ranked based on military engagement, such as the number of veterans per 1,000 civilian adults, active duty military personnel, and more. Also ranked on civic engagement, such as volunteer rate, trial, and grand jury participation, U.S. history, education requirements, plus the number of adults who voted in the 2020 presidential election. So, Nick, I'm going to ask you, we have 10 states here in the top 10. Can you guess one of the states in the top 10? What do you think? Who do you think made the top 10?
Massachusetts.
No.
I was betting on that one. All right, well, I'll go with the obvious, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin did not make the list.
Really?
Yeah. Wisconsin did not make the list
Shameful.
of most patriotic
All right, well,
in the United States.
It's Texas.
No.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
really. Texas did not make the list.
Texas. Let me get California.
No.
What?
No, California did not.
How about, oh, man.
You want me to give you number 10?
New York.
New York did not make the top. No. There's a
all the
lot of
states.
state pride. There's a
no
lot
more
of state
states.
pride. See, you name some states that have a lot of state pride.
Yeah.
You know, Texas, it's all about Texas. You know, the state pride. Now, granted, we do have a lot of U.S. flags that are flying all over the place, but it's a lot of state pride in there. California, a lot of California pride. New York, I think there's a lot of New York pride.
Florida,
hang on. No.
What are,
So number 10, I'll give you number 10, Hawaii, which surprises me. But okay, Pearl Harbor, maybe because of, maybe, I don't know. But Hawaii, number 9, Maryland.
Okay.
Number 8, Washington State.
Okay, that was my fifth answer.
Number 7, New Hampshire, which, New Hampshire.
Sure.
Number 6, Colorado, which surprises me.
Patriotic.
Yeah.
But
okay. I mean, they've got some military bases there, so okay. Oregon, number 5. Maine, number 4.
All right, I was going to say Maine as a joke.
Yeah.
I regret that.
Okay.
I guess I should have said that. Is it the lobsters that make it?
I think it's the lobster that makes them very patriotic. Yeah.
Wow.
Number 3 is Montana.
I thought like 10 people live in Montana.
If you break it down percentage-wise, they're all in the military.
Okay.
Number 2. Any guess on number 2?
West Virginia.
No, Alaska. Number 2.
If Hawaii was number 10, I should have said Alaska for number 2.
Yeah, and the number 1 state, most patriotic state according to Wallet Hub, the state of Virginia.
Really?
Which does make sense. They've got a high number of active duty military personnel.
Okay.
It's close to D.C., and so they go all out for the Independence Day weekend. But this
what is this study for?
They noted that 71.5% of Virginia residents voted in the 2020 presidential election, compared to the average of 67%.
Okay.
For every 100,000 civilians in Virginia, there are nearly 1,900 active duty military personnel. Big military state in Virginia.
Sure.
So that adds to it.
Yeah, I could understand, I suppose.
Yeah. Again, it's Wallet Hub. I don't know.
Alaska?
Are
there a lot of military bases on Alaska?
Here you go. Alaska, Alaska, they have a very high number of jury service participation because there's not a lot of people.
I was going to say, the population is, by the math, percentage-wise, that's true.
Montana, volunteer rate was very high. States near the bottom of the list included Florida, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, and Arkansas, which came in last place. Elizabeth, I'm sorry, I just got your text message. I won't have time to get to it. That's a good one. You warn about potential violence that will erupt when Trump is elected, which I think he will be. My first thought is this: whoever lives in Democrat-controlled locations, cities should move away now. I would say that you're right on that. I wouldn't want to be there. Enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless you all. Enjoy the sunset tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 5 p.m.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.